All right, welcome back. In this session, we're going to take a look at rules for accentuation of verbs. Now, here you see I have verbs here in parentheses up at the top, and that's because these rules only apply to verbs. Okay, you're going to have a different set of rules for nouns, and that's called the rules of persistent accentuation, which we're going to look at here next. Okay, so but right now these are only for verbs. Now, how do you know that these words are all verbs? Well, you really don't. Okay, you know because I've told you they are. But as the course goes on, you'll be able to recognize them, A, because you'll know them as vocabulary words, and 2, because you'll be able to recognize the ending. So don't worry about that right now. Obviously, there's no way you could know that. But given these are verbs, you know, we can learn at this point how to apply the rules of recessive accentuation, which is what we're going to be doing. Okay, so the rules basically are this. All right, you go back as far as you can up to 3 syllables. Okay, remember in Greek you have 3 syllables. The ultima syllable, which is the last syllable here, that in this case would be the A. All right, I hate that little bug that does that. The penultimate syllable, which is the us here, okay? Or I guess you would probably lump the lambda in with it to make it loose. Okay, so that would be your penultimate syllable. And then the first syllable here, if there is one, the third one back, if there is one, if it goes back that far, is called the antepenult. Okay, so there's 3 syllables here, okay? The ultima, the penultima, the next to last, and the antepenultima, which is the third from the last. Now, the rules are basically this. In Greek, for verbs, the accent goes back as far as it can go, up to 3 syllables. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, the only thing that would hold it back is what? The presence of long vowels. Okay, it can only go back 1 syllable from the nearest long vowel. Okay, so we have to take a look here and assess these vowels here. Alpha is a short vowel. Okay. Upsilon is also usually a short vowel as well, so here it can go all the way back to the beginning. So we would accent it right here on the very first syllable or the antepenult to get elusa, elusa. So you see the accent there on the first syllable. Okay, elusa. All right, next word. Pistuo, pistuo. This is the word for believe or to trust. We notice here it too has 3 syllables. Pist, okay, tu, and then o. Okay, so we have a possibility of it going all the way back to the first syllable here, the antepenult. But what's going to happen? We try to take it back and we realize, aha, the last syllable is an omega, which is a long vowel. Therefore, we only can go back 1 vowel from the nearest long vowel. Okay, or the pistuo, pistuo. Okay. Now, pistuite is going to be a different form of the same verb, to believe. In this case, it's going to be you plural believe. We'll learn all that soon enough. But in this case, we're going to count vowels again. In this case, it can go back further. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so keep in mind, in this case, it's going to fall in the same syllable, but it can go back 3 syllables. Okay, so we're going to end up accenting the same syllable there, but again, remember, it could go back because each epsilon here represents a short vowel. So the et, te, et here is the each are short vowels. Okay, so it goes back as far as it can go, which is to the antepenult. Okay, all right. Leluka, leluka. All right. Again, we look here, short vowel, short vowel. Okay, so therefore we can bring it all the way back to the antepenult here for leluka. All right, lue, lue. Okay, well, with a verb for purposes of accentuation, these last diphthongs are considered long. Okay, so we have to bring it back to the antepenult or to the penult here. Okay, so lue, lue. All right. Okay, eluthane. Eluthane. Okay, so in this case, we have again 3 syllables. The antepenult el, okay, the penult, which is luth, okay, and the final syllable, the first syllable, the ultimate, which is the ain. All right. Now remember, eta is a long vowel. Okay, so our accent can only go back one syllable from the eta. So we will bring it back to here. The oo, eluthane. Eluthane. All right. Okay, blepomen. Blepomen. Well, again, you have three syllables for this particular verb. All right. The first would be the men ending here. The second would be the o with the po. And the first, the antepenult, would be the ble. All right. So we go back as far as we can. 1, 2, 3 if we're able to. And here we are because this is a short and this is a short also. So we can go all the way back to the beginning here. Blepomen. Blepomen. All right. Okay, now blepe. Oops. Let's straighten this out here. Blepe is, again, we go back as far as we can. In this case, we only have two syllables to play around with. And this one's going to be long anyway for purposes of accentuation. So here is where we put the accent for blepe. Blepe. All right. Same situation in this form. Blepo. The accent's going to have to go here because that's as far back as it can go. Because A, there's only two syllables anyway, and B, because we end with a long vowel, so we can only go one syllable back from that. Okay. All right. Ginomai, very common word meaning to become, to be. All right, in this case, the AI ending here is going to be short for purposes of accentuation. Okay, this is one of the short diphthongs. No, gi. So you got three syllables here. 1, 2, 3 back. This is where we'd accentuate it. Okay. All right. So again, let's scroll down here and look at a few more. All right. Ginosko, the verb meaning to know, or in this case, I know. Here we have three syllables. See, gi, nosk, and ko. Okay, but in this case, we're only going to be able to bring back the accent one syllable because the ultima is a long vowel. So the accent would have to go one syllable back on the penult. Okay. Eganathan. Okay, so here you have four syllables to play around with. And remember, I told you that when you started, this is kind of incidental, but when you start a verb with a vowel, you have to have a breathing mark of one kind or another. In this case, we have a smooth breathing mark. So it's Eganathan, not Heganathan. But that aside, we have actually four syllables to play around with. So again, the accent could not go all the way back to the very beginning here. We only have the possibility of it going back up to three syllables. Okay, so it could be here, it could be here in this syllable, okay, and it could be here. All right, but where is it? Well, because we've ended the word in a long syllable, okay, because it has a long vowel, the eta is always long, the accent's going to have to go here on the second eta. Okay? All right. Hope this is making sense here. And again, don't panic if this seems a little bit tricky at first. It's not a big deal, and you will pick it up within a week or two, okay, if not sooner. But it's worth spending a little bit of time going over it. Okay, so here's another word, apostellomen. Okay, apostellomen. This is the word for send. In this case, it's the first person plural. You don't know that yet. But here we have many syllables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. So again, it's only the last three syllables that are really in play when accentuation is concerned. And again, notice the smooth breathing mark here to begin the word. It's apostellomen, not hopostellomen. But be that as it may, each of these two final syllables are short, and therefore we can bring it back all the way to the antepenult, apostellomen. All right. On the other hand, this form of the word apostello, okay, we end in a long vowel, and therefore that's only going to let us go back to the penult there, apostello, apostello. Okay, so let's jump up here again and take a look at a few more. This is hexo, hexo. Notice here it starts on a vowel. In this case, you have a rough breathing mark. Hexo, not exo. All right, and this is the Kasai letter we learned in the alphabet. Okay, so here it's pretty obvious that the accentuation is going to go on the hex right here because you have to go one syllable back from the nearest long vowel, which is this one. Okay, so I'll see if I can put the accent there. I always get confused with There we go. Okay. So you see here, this has a rough breathing mark and an accent on that syllable. Okay. You're going to have the same issue here. Hexomen. See again the rough breathing mark. Hexomen. Okay, so you jump back as far as you can go. In this case, short, short. Aha, I can go all the way back to the first syllable here. All right. Let's do it. Hexomen. See the accent there now, along with the rough breathing mark. Okay. Now, echo, echo. Okay, actually the same verb as hexo, but in a different tense. This is the verb to have. This word literally means I have. So we're going to be going back again and accentuating this syllable here because that's the one that was called for by the rules of recessive accentuation. Okay, so there we go. Okay, ekate. Okay, same deal here. 1, 2, short, short. So we can go all the way back here. Oops. All right. There we go. I always forget which is which on that. There's 4 possibilities there. Okay, so again, echoman, same deal. Short, short, go all the way back. So there we have it. There we go. All right. So, caruso, caruso, this is a word for announce, Okay. Let's take a look here. You end in a long vowel, so that tells you right away the farthest back you can go is the penultimate syllable here. So there we go. Caruso. Okay. Carusomen, carusomen, same deal here, right? Because you got short, short, so I can go all the way back here. Now it happens in this particular form to be the antepenult. That's where I accent. Okay. All right. So balomen, balomen. This is the word for cast or throw. 1, 2, both short, so I can go all the way back to the alpha here. Oops. There we are. Okay. A blethe. Okay. How do you handle this one? Well, here you've got 3 vowels again. We could accent all the way back to the epsilon, except what? We've got a problem here because it ends in a long vowel. So we can only go back 1 from the long vowel to the second eta. So it's a blethe. A blethe. All right. A grapsamen. A grapsamen. Okay, so this happens to end in 2 short vowels. Short. And this alpha is short also, so we can go all the way back to the antepenult there. Okay. And let's scroll all the way down here and get, yeah, there we go. Okay, so, all right, grapsite, grapsite. So 1, 2, both short, so I can go all the way back to the alpha. Okay. Epsilon, epsilon. Okay, so the omicron here is short. Okay, epsilon is short. Okay, you can go all the way back here. And finally, I get it right there. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Apongalo. Apongalo. This is the word for announce or to preach, proclaim. You got a long vowel here, so it only is allowed to go back to the epsilon there. Okay. And finally, apongelomen. Apongelomen. Okay, so again, short vowel epsilon, short vowel omicron. There's where we accent. Okay? Well, very good. Let's take a break and we'll come back and do the rules of noun accentuation real quickly. Okay, now for accentuation of nouns, I don't really want to get bogged down in all of the various rules. I mean, the one thing I want you to remember is that accentuation of nouns is basically persistent. So once you learn the vocabulary word and you learn how the word is accentuated in the form in which you will learn the word, and typically you'll learn the word with the nominative form and the genitive form. So for instance, for the word here, you'll learn logos, logu, okay, which is the genitive form, okay. Hora, horos, okay, that basically tells you what kind of declension it is just from looking at the word. Okay, and you'll learn from there how the word's accentuated, and generally speaking, the accent persists throughout all the forms. Okay, notice here that the hora accent stays pretty much throughout. Okay. Now, in the genitive, as a rule, in first declension, it shifts, for the genitive plural, it shifts to a circumflex over the O, the omega. Okay, that's just a little thing you have to remember, and you will. Okay, now here, phones, notice in just the dictionary form, the word for sound or voice, you're going to see the accent is formed over the last syllable here. All right, and so basically, that pattern persists throughout the word. Okay, now when that happens, it turns out you get a circumflex in the genitive and dative forms. Okay, but that's not something I'd ever ask you on a test or anything like that. To be candid with you, I even have trouble with accents. Okay, for nouns. Okay, because you have to pretty much memorize them with the words, and it's actually quite difficult to do if you haven't spent a tremendous amount of time with it. And so, frankly, I never really found it to be something I thought was worth spending a great deal of time with, and so I don't know them perfectly. But just the basic idea is not a bad thing to keep in mind. Okay, see doxa, the word for glory. Notice here it's accented on the omicron, and that pattern basically persists throughout the form, except, as you might guess, in the genitive plural. Okay, same thing for masculine second declension nouns. Okay, we'll get into those soon enough. And again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We'll see these in a couple chapters ahead. But notice logos, the word for word, you keep the accent basically on that antepenult or penult syllable. Okay, except in the genitive plural, which is lagone. Okay, and here a neuter, the word for work, ergon, you generally persist as well. Okay. Now keep in mind, with neuters, for some reason, I don't ask me why this is, you sometimes don't get the genitive plural circumflexed like you do in other forms. But again, don't worry about this so much. Okay, especially with nouns. Okay, it tends to be a little bit more important with verbs than with nouns. I'm not going to take any points off if you miss an accent here and there. Just don't sweat it too much. All right, but this is the basic idea of how it works. All right, don't spend a lot of time trying to memorize the rules of accents. Frankly, for either nouns or verbs, you'll get the feel for it within a few weeks, I promise. Okay, so again, just feel free to watch this video again if you like, but this is the basic idea for how we accent nouns and verbs. Okay, great. I'll see you in a little while.